Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. Neil, we can see you coming. Okay, I just checked getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up. Roger, we copy. Pretty good little jump.
After the great enthusiasm followed by the Second World War, in 1969 the first human being has stepped a foot on the moon. It looked like the beginning of a great space era. Since I was a child, then a grown man, space stories have always fascinated me, but in the last 50 years there haven't been any step forward in space exploration. Some have even started to think that nobody actually ever went to the moon. I mean, in 1969, there were no smartphones. Imagine the computing power of the technologies to go there and back, to land and come back. So space was becoming more the land of imagination than reality. Though reality had many more surprises than I expected. Because the position of Italy in the world space chessboard is more important than just a spectator's one. Let's start with the beginning. First of all, the love story between Italy and aerospace starts far back in time, from the passion for flight. The modern aeronautics is a 20th century story, and Italy was there since the very beginning. It was Italian, Anzani branded, the engine that moved the plane that first crossed the channel in 1909. And it was Italy, the first country ever to use aeroplanes in actual combat, in Libya during the war with Turkey in 1911, an effort that opened the way to the air battles in the First World War and then to the diffusion of aviation worldwide. After the Second World War, the technological war to conquer the sky has become even more intense, till space has joined the competition. Here we are, in a place that still today, after more than 50 years, it's still a main character in the Italian aeronautics. In Caselle, near Turin, there is one of the production sites of Leonardo, the biggest Italian company in aerospace, that here produces components and systems for several €100 million warplanes.
The core competence that are related to the integration of the different systems inside our final product and sharing all the low-level technology maturation through a network of university, research center and industrial partners that not only contribute to the technology development but also support us during the design, manufacturing and the service support of our product.
Italy has launched its first satellite more than 50 years ago, and since then, the Italian effort distinguished in a very high level and demanding industry with heavy long-term investments. Turin, especially, is the cradle of the Italian aerospace industry. Here, the first industry in this field were born. In Turin, there have been the first Italian airport, which recently has celebrated its centenary. But mostly, it's because the synergy between Piemonte's major companies, SMEs, research centers and university, in particular the Politecnico, made a decisive contribution to position the region among the leading clusters in Europe in a sector characterized by a high level of innovation and research. A system, the Italian one, in which not only big companies play a key role.
Insieme ad un gruppo di imprenditori che hanno voluto lanciare il cuore oltre l'ostacolo, circa 2 anni fa, abbiamo creato un raggruppamento di imprese, cluster, che si chiama ANCOM, in modo da non solo promuovere, ma fornire una soluzione concreta a quei grandi committenti che non vogliono interloquire con una piccola impresa, per cui 11 imprese, un totale di circa 1000 persone, per fornire ciascuna una soluzione ad ambiti di ingegneria e costruzione, realizzazione, che insieme possono fare la differenza.
By the way, the aerospace field, though not that known, is one of the leading fields for the Italian national economy, and it has known no crisis. Since 2008, the turnover has grown more than 50%. So statistics confirm. The entire aerospace cluster is worth more than 50,000 direct workers and more than 200,000 employees in the whole, and the aggregated turnover of the companies is more than 15 billion per year, with nearly 60% of export. The cluster is characterized by a high work productivity and capital intensity, and it's the second in Italy for investments, which reach almost 1.5 billion euros. Italy and its aerospace field is fourth in Europe and seventh in the world. Side by side with contractors like Leonardo, Fincantieri, GE Avio, the national cluster is made by 80% of SMEs located mostly in Piemonte, Lombardia, Lazio, Campania and Puglia, a growing market which is facing a new phase of development after a long time. The world aerospace market seems to be living an extremely positive moment, with record orders and deliveries by system integrators in many market segments, orders that allow to be optimistic for the future in the field in the next 20 years. These are signals that push the entire aerospace supply chain to properly respond. The crown jewel of our aerospace industry is without doubt Thales Alenia Space Italia, becoming this year's a point of reference in many aerospace fields, from satellite systems to environment monitoring to security systems for air traffic. We're now in the Italian temple of the aerospace industry in Turin, inside Thales Alenia Space Italia. Here, more than a half of the pressurized volume of the International Space Station and the cargo that transport supplies to the station have been produced.
We apply technology that are already known in terms of their content, but we need to apply them to a specific and very critical environment that is space. So for us, is what we do in terms of research and development is not pure research, but is applied research, applied to solutions for space, for man in space, and so this is our specificity and our characteristics.
But what is the role of Italy in the new space race that has science fiction goals like a moon base and the arrival of the first human being on Mars? Here we are again in Torino, inside the production facility of Altec, that will be busy in handling all the communication and will be the control tower of the ExoMars mission, of which Thales Alenia Space Italia is prime contractor, that will get a rover on Mars. In this place are tested the Mars surface, the difficulties of communication, and all the challenges that must be overcome to make true the human dream of space exploration.
Da Altec verranno definiti e preparati i piani di comando che dovranno essere ricevuti dal rover e si riceverà di ritorno i dati telemetrici e scientifici attraverso i quali gli operatori e gli scienziati decideranno dove direzionare il rover per assolvere alla missione scientifica per la quale insomma, il rover è stato mandato su Marte.
But what are the technological targets to reach? From reproducing a compatible environment for the human existence in spaceship, to keep the crew alive, to allow them to repair the ship, to give systems the ability to do automatic reparation without any remote intervention, to fuel, speed, challenges that are so hard to get you dizzy.
Ci sono tutta una serie di come dire, attività e pietre miliari che devono essere raggiunte da un punto di vista tecnologico per consentire la realizzazione di questi viaggi interplanetari.
Arrival to Mars of humans is the next horizon for us. Is not a very short time horizon because we are talking about still some years, but we are preparing for that together with the international community. And of course the areas where we are working on that are of course in the materials, because we need to make the solutions to fly more light. The other area are protection by radiation in particular, because the long exposure to the cosmic radiation of a human being in space is dangerous, and so we need to protect the astronauts for long periods with dedicated solution that we are studying. And then the idea is to land on the soil of Mars to work on that, and so all the aspects of the entrance in the atmosphere of Mars and the management of this phase are one of the crucial points that we are thinking on. And then we are in particular concentrating on the support of life during the travel to Mars of the astronauts. So we are thinking to some regenerative ECLS systems, so environmental control systems, in such a way that all the resources internal to the space station are managed very carefully in order not to waste anything.
C'è il tema dell'autonomia di bordo, cioè rendere le macchine che ci porteranno su Marte o sugli altri pianeti sempre più indipendenti dal controllo umano a terra e dal controllo umano stesso a bordo navicella.
Even though at this point looks like Italy is an aerospace superpower, it's not this way that companies and nations think in this industrial field. Because for how many competencies and technologies you have, the space race is no more a solo thing.
Only the very important nations like US and Russia and China can have budget self-standing that can afford to pay for these big developments. We need in Europe to share resources, because we are not big enough, not Germany, not France, not Italy, to do alone. But together we need to work on that, and it's important to be there, because otherwise we will become a country that will progressively decrease its importance in the world.
It's Europe, the real aerospace superpower that's emerging in the last years. Europe moves in team on projects, goals, results. The European Space Agency, the institution that collects the 22 nations that cooperate on the joint space mission, has Italy as its third contributor and has developed the Galileo program, the European GPS, and has contributed crucially to the International Space Station and to the Mars Express probe, and then Cassini, Planck, Gaia. With a key role, Italy, with Europe, is contributing to research and space exploration. The horizon is the red planet. Inside our heads, the dream, at any coasts, to fly from Italy to space.